Doomsday clock, created in 1943 by scientists at the University of Chicago, symbolizes the existential threat that humanity will face. Originally set at 7 minutes to midnight, reflecting the fear of nuclear war after World War II, the clock has moved forward and backward over the decades as a measure of the geopolitical and environmental climate. In 1953, with the testing of hydrogen weapons, the time was adjusted by 2 minutes per year. In the years that followed, events such as the Cold War and nuclear security accompanied the start of the clock. In 1991, with the disintegration of the Soviet Union, the hands were moved back to 1. However, recent decades have brought new challenges: climate change, geopolitical tensions, and disinformation. In 2020, the clock was set to 100 seconds to midnight, the closest we have ever been to disaster. Today, it warns us, the time is urgent. One of the most prominent conflicts is the war in Ukraine, which began in 2022, resulting in a severe humanitarian crisis and heightened tensions between nuclear powers. Russia's invasion triggered an international response, including harsh assessments and military support for Ukraine. This scenario has raised concerns about a direct confrontation between nuclear nations, leading to the clock being set to 100 seconds to midnight, symbolizing its. One of the most prominent conflicts is the war in Ukraine, which began in 2022 and has resulted in a severe humanitarian crisis and heightened tensions between nuclear powers. Russia's invasion has triggered an international response, including severe sanctions and military support for Ukraine. This scenario raised concerns about a direct confrontation between nuclear nations, leading the clock to be set to 100 seconds to midnight, symbolizing the urgency of the situation. Another hotbed of tension is the Middle East, where protracted conflicts, such as the civil war in Syria and hostilities between Israel and Hamas, continue to generate instability. These conflicts fuel radicalization and extremism, creating a vicious cycle that threatens regional and global peace. In addition, the involvement of external powers, such as the United States and Russia, makes the situation even more complex and volatile. On the African continent, the situation is also alarming. The civil war in Ethiopia and the conflicts in South Sudan reflect the fragility of governments and the struggle for resources. These conflicts, often exacerbated by ethnic and political issues, have the potential to destabilize the entire region, creating a domino effect that could affect global security. Today's wars not only cause death and destruction, but also divert resources that could be used to combat critical issues like climate change. Military spending often outstrips investment in environmental initiatives, creating a cycle in which preparing for war crowds out the collaboration needed to address global CHA. 272/5.000. Furthermore, the proliferation of disinformation and propaganda in an increasingly digital world exacerbates tensions. The manipulation of information can incite violence and distrust between nations, contributing to a climate of insecurity that is reflected in the Doomsday clock.